Really great to see so many people in the audience late in the day. It looks like the coffee break worked. Perfect. We're here today to talk about online to offline attribution. And sitting here in San Francisco, in the Valley, it's easy to think that this is a solved problem. The reality is sort of 10% of retail is e-commerce. And if you talk to anybody about attribution, what digital assisted sales in the real world looks like, the range is anywhere from 2 to 6x that. And nobody knows exactly what that looks like because we can't close the loop. And so we're here on stage today with two people who spent a lot of time thinking about that problem. Kim Matlock from Hard Rock and Ben Jabbawy from Privy. And they're going to share a little bit about what they've worked on and what the types of decisions and insights that's unlocked for each of their organizations and what that's meant. But maybe you guys could introduce yourselves and kind of what you do, real quick.
I'm Kim Matlock. I'm the Senior Director of Digital Marketing and CRM at Hard Rock. And what that means is that I have all of the customer relationship management, all the customer service, the guest feedback, everything in social media, everything digital media, and then all of our web presence online. So it's quite a big job.
I'm Ben Jabbawy. I'm the founder and CEO of Privy, Privy.com. We're an online to offline marketing platform focused on the retail and restaurant market. So folks like Kim, really helping them understand the in-store impact of their online marketing.
Perfect. Well, so to that point, maybe Kim, you could share a little bit about kind of the core pain you felt as a marketing leader at Hard Rock. Talk about why online to offline attribution was such a core question for you and what the world looked like before you bumped into Ben.
Big thing. So hopefully everybody in this room has been to a Hard Rock Cafe, a Hard Rock Hotel, a Hard Rock Casino somewhere in the world. Nod your heads, yes please, okay, good. So we have tens of millions of fans that come through our doors every day to eat, stay, or play at Hard Rock. We have more than 11 million fans in our more than 1,300 social media accounts. And we have close to 2 million members in our loyalty program. And due to Personal Information Privacy Act and PCI compliance, we don't keep that information. The only real information we have is with our loyalty members, where we can track their behaviors of wherever they go all the way down to the penny, so we know who they are. So really, we're trying to find of this 11 million people that happen to be on social media, and this 2 million, clearly there's a gap there, and how can we pull the people from social media and things that are happening online actually into our stores and be able to measure it all the way down to the POS level.
Quick double click, did you say 1,300 social media?
Yes, we do, yes.
All right, all the social media management companies, I hope you're paying attention.
Yeah.
That is an unsolved CRM problem right there.
Yes, it's true. So how we found Ben is what we were looking for is something that's on my goals every year from my boss is how can you tell what the social media fan value really is? And there's a lot of marketing out there that says, oh, a Facebook fan is worth $11 or a Twitter fan is worth $5 or whatever that is. We really wanted to find a way to drag them off online, get them into the store and be able to track it down to the transaction level, and that's what we were able to do with Privy.
Fantastic. And again, sitting here in San Francisco, we assume that a major organization like Hard Rock really wants to solve this problem. What was it like internally in terms of convincing your leadership team that this needed to be solved? Kind of what were the reactions? What were the questions they asked you?
Yep. So for us, we have a development team, and it has to support our properties and stuff around the world, and it's a very small development team. So we try not to tend to build things. We want to buy and look at other outside solutions. And so really it came down to, we're not really a discount brand, we don't do a lot of offers, and when we did do it, we had to build everything internally, and it just got to be very expensive, time-consuming, and we really couldn't move quickly enough. We weren't that agile. So really the point was I could get things done faster, we could get it quicker, and we could actually have better reporting if we looked at a solution like Privy.
Cool. Well, not to make this a Privy commercial, what stood out about what they had built? Did you look at other technologies that kind of sort of solve this problem? What made Privy stand out?
So for us, obviously, we looked at all of the deal sites. Everybody has one that does offers. What Privy had for us was a really nice user interface that was there. They had reporting that was part of it. It seemed to be very easy, consumer-centric, that would be able to, have a code that could be killed that the consumer could understand. And more importantly, we really needed something that operationally, if somebody came into one of our properties, they could look at it and not be confused or not know what to do. So really, the ease of use and the reporting was actually really quite nice.
Cool. Well, Ben, maybe you could talk a little bit about what you saw happening in kind of the technology universe that led you to say, hey, I want to start Privy. What was the problem you set out to solve?
Absolutely. So I think, for years you've seen like a classic inside sales B2B funnel where, at the top of the funnel you now have something like Marketo or HubSpot where you're kind of acquiring leads and nurturing them, and then at the bottom of that funnel adding them to your sales force. For the offline world, it's really a major cluster. So like Kim was saying, you definitely have a loyalty program of some sort, but what we've seen across the board is that adoption of loyalty programs, A, there's a lot of friction signing up for these, and B, once you get that kind of initial adoption, it sort of plateaus from there. So what we found was as these brands like Hard Rock and others were shifting from traditional to digital, there wasn't that equivalent that fills a very similar role for the inside marketing teams to build the relationships, to track and nurture these customers, with the end goal of driving them to be more loyal customers.
And how are you sort of connecting the two worlds? How do you know when a user that's authenticated through Privy online shows up at a Hard Rock offline and takes advantage of an offer?
Yeah. So, raise your hand if you've received a Bed Bath & Beyond coupon in the mail, or, Home Depot or anything like that. Exactly. So for us, promotions are really a means to an end for us to actually establish the connection between the merchant, the brick and mortar merchant, and the consumer, and to track that consumer in store when they walk in the store and redeem that offer with their mobile phone. These are typically small incentives, things like $1 off, or free fries if you buy a burger. Simply a means to an end for us to measure that online to offline activity to prove that we close the loop. And by closing the loop for us, we really mean person, place, and thing. So here's Susie. She came from a Google ad campaign or a Facebook ad. She visited the Hard Rock in Dallas, and she purchased a cheeseburger and fries and spent $50. So person, place, and thing to us means closed loop, and that's really the focus of the product.
Perfect. Well, that tees up kind of the fun part. Kim, maybe you could talk a little bit about some of the initial campaigns you've run and analyzed through Privy, and what kind of results you saw.
Yeah, so we went ahead and we did 4 different units. We did 2 internationally and 2 in the United States. And what we were able to do was, with Privy, work out through the POS. We did a double kill code. And so even though, like from the Privy standpoint, you go online and you claim an offer, and then you actually step into one of those 4 locations and you can redeem it, it would actually spit back a code that our servers would take down that we loaded into our POS systems, and then when they literally put the code into the POS, it attached it to the check. So for all of the things that we saw online for Privy, we were able to match it into the point of sale system, and then we could actually track everybody through all of the different media sources. So we were able to get a full closed loop and an ROI in every single digital media channel that we pushed out.
And just to clarify exactly how that works, so from the brand perspective, when Kim and her team are creating campaigns inside of Privy, they're using us to create the landing pages and specific landing pages on a per channel, per ad basis, so that she's actually able to understand, was it the Google campaign, the Facebook campaign, or even just their owned assets like their website that drove that customer in store.
What did you find?
We found that the Facebook ad buy, which I tell them I have my mixed emotions on Facebook, that it was a very, very low spend, and in reality, because people already liked the Facebook the page, they have an affinity for Hard Rock, it drove the most amount of redemptions and actually in-store claims that were there, and had about a 15 times ROI of what we spent in the Facebook ad campaign. When we did digital media buys, where we did actually ad buys across a network and stuff, it wasn't just Google or AdWords, it really was run a site in different placements that we had. That did not perform at all. Nowhere. The ROI was maybe negative even in some cases. So, we found that there is a certain media agency company we will never use again as a result.
Fair enough. So, kind of eternal question for a lot of marketers in the audience. To your point, somebody who has a natural affinity for you on Facebook should spend more money in store. So, how much of that is sort of buying customers you quote already have, as you think about attribution and what that means in terms of the next wave of spending?
Yeah, so without a doubt, we are paying to get our fans that we have acquired or worked to acquire over the years to actually come on in. What we did find, though, is that many of them were already a part of our loyalty program, which isn't something that we actually do. So that they were on Facebook. Because, again, of our terms and conditions of our loyalty program, because it's valid in 58 countries around the world, we legally cannot upload our names to Facebook, regardless if they say that there is no direct connection and they won't match it. I don't trust them, so I'm not giving the names up there for it. So, we didn't know. So that was a lot of information that came over that we were able to tell. So that was actually good. We probably would spend more money with Facebook to drive more of them to come over, just so that we could get them in the loyalty program where we can track more of their spend.
And what was there a particular kind of ad unit? There's obviously a few different flavors within Facebook that worked really well for you.
It wasn't just, we did organic posts, we did organic posts, we did promoted posts, and then we did some ad buys that were part of it. Then we did many different 300 by 250, we did some banner ads that were there, we did some skyscrapers, and we had multiple different ad placements. We send out direct email that we had out of ours, so that was technically free for us. That performed probably the best of all of it, but then again, it's our direct email database, and they've opted in for that. So we would do more of the emailing, clearly, and then we would probably do more of the Facebook.
And that's something we see consistently across all our clients. You really need to take a multi-channel approach and test different channels, paid and owned, in terms of establishing that initial new relationship with the consumer. And then email is still, even in the offline world, an incredibly powerful driver of in-store commerce. And it's that multi-channel to acquire, email to drive in-store. That's the story that we see consistently across all our clients.
So, Ben, in your mind, having seen a variety of clients try and crack this multi-channel attribution nut, why was Hard Rock able to pull it off, and why do other customers struggle? Is it the POS integration? Is it kind of correlating the data? What makes this so hard?
Yeah, I think, Hard Rock's a great example. I would describe it as a multi-unit brand where, the units, the stores are literally all over the world, right? So imagine the effort that Kim would have to undertake to get the feedback manually from the staff, right? I think you were describing one time this scenario where they created a promotion that someone had to print out and bring in, which is a standard in the industry right now. And trying to collect that information and prevent fraud on the staff side and on the consumer side and accurately measure the impact is, have fun, So it's a really, really tough nut to crack from a centralized kind of point without getting IT involved and doing all this custom development.
And Kim, is that similar to what you hear from peers at other organizations and other retailers and chains?
It is. So even just from a CRM standpoint, unless you've got a really good relationship with IT, it is a lot of work. I have analysts and stuff that are on my team that take the data, but it is a lot of work and stuff, and it was a lot of work to pull everything together, because when you're getting media reports from digital agencies and getting their impressions and their click-throughs, then you're getting information from Privy to see who claimed it and who redeemed it, and then you're now pulling in all the transactional data from the POS system, and then going through line by line and making sure everything all matches up. It was a lot of work.
It sounds like it.
Yeah, but it was worth it.
So, you know, a number of the folks here probably have a mobile app install base that they think of as, hey, this is a way for me to bridge a digital identity into the store. Has Hard Rock experimented with kind of tying mobile apps into loyalty programs as a CRM vehicle, or is that too much work, too hard, etc.?
We've just chosen from a mobility standpoint to make our websites and our experiences mobile enabled so that they work in their responsive designs across sites. So we do have, you know, a mobile presence in our loyalty program, but it is not an app, and our websites are not apps as well. And it's just my own personal philosophy on apps of, you know, unless you've got something that requires it developmentally to have the, you know, the device do more of the throughput, then it's not worth it. And we don't, you know, ours is an informational site, you know, for our consumers. You know, what did you spend? When's your next time you visit? Learn about the Hard Rock. It doesn't make sense kind of an app in our space.
And it's, you know, we were laughing earlier about this concept of native apps. Don't get us wrong, mobile's hugely important. Native might be the right decision for some people, if you're Starbucks, Dunkin', etc. But for the majority of these brick and mortar brands, you know, just investing and trying to maintain native apps across devices might not be the best decision.
Certainly if you have locations in 58 countries and you got to worry about language customization and so on.
Sure.
So guys, we've got about a minute to go. I don't know if you have any closing thoughts on sort of untapped opportunities in online to offline attribution. Certainly coupon redemption is a great way to close that loop. Are there other levers that you would look to pull as a brand to solve that gap?
Right now, obviously people are motivated, you know, to have some sort of an offer. It does help because it is a code-related thing. Now that we have Privy, we can go beyond an offer and offer an experience instead, and still have a code that we can go and track, and then see that they actually took that and they had that experience. It's there. So that's really kind of the place where we want to go with it, is with our loyalty members, using it in that way to them, because then we really can kind of create a much different type of transaction, if you will, in an experience.
Ben, closing thoughts?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of interesting approaches to closed loop and innovation in this world. I think a lot of stuff is happening inside of the four walls around loyalty and the new wave of POS. Our view of the world is that there's a lot of high intent traffic starting outside of the four walls, right? So gone are the days where when you walk in, that's the first experience you have with that brand. So everything we're trying to do is really around that multi-channel and mobile experience when intent is really high, but before they've had that first experience with the brand.
Perfect. Thank you guys, and thank you everyone. And we'll be around if you guys have questions after the discussion.